This past week, Carol wanted to go back to Idaho Falls and meet with two of her sisters and spend a couple of days. So I said, Carol, you can't drive that alone. 250 miles. I'm going to drive you up. So we got a hotel room overlooking the Idaho Falls. The falls just beautiful. All that water, the falls, absolutely beautiful. In the background is the temple. The background is the stake center. At one time there was the hospital there, which I've already referenced and my grandfather operated. That was torn down and replaced by a very large stake center. So it's kind of the centerpiece. So it's across on the west side of the hotel, but you could see all that beauty. Well, I made one phone call to Gabby Anderson. Now, Gabby was named after Gabby Hayes. Now, I can't remember, was it Gabby Hayes in the Gene Autry movies, or was it Gabby Hayes in the Roy Rogers movies? But it was in one of those. And Gabby was a character. He became the manager of the boxing team my junior year. So he had to pick up all the towels and had to do this and that and give us massages when we needed it, and on we go. He was fantastic. So he arranged a party. And in that party, there were 4 of us. And of course, I was one. There was Gabby, and there was Dave Hunter, and there was Kent Taylor. All 4 of us are returned missionaries. All 4 of us have remained true, and all 4 of us have had jobs to do. But as I looked at the group, we were in Kent Taylor's house, and I've already mentioned him once before in the previous date, because he gave me a poem. Well, the poem that he sent me, which he said characterized me, my approach to life, was the following. Ride a wild horse with purple wings and stripes of black and yellow, except his head. His head must be red. Ride a wild horse into the sky. Hold tight to his wings, and before you die, whatever else you leave undone, once, only once, ride a wild horse into the sun. So there we are, in his home. He's sitting in a chair. He had a stroke a little over 3.5 years ago. He's not been able to utter a sound since then. Everything is keen. He knows what you're saying and everything, except he can't talk. And having had a little background in that myself, but only in the context of stuttering, I understand a little bit, the agony that he has been suffering with. Now, David Hunter, who was a stake patriarch and a returned missionary, he and his wife served a mission in London, and very successful businessman in the Idaho Falls area. He can't remember a thing that any of us are saying. It is not Alzheimer's, it is severe dementia. But you could just see how the light wasn't there. Now the other one, Gabby, who arranged everything, he just, from the neck up, he's fantastic. And that's just fine. But he has a cane, but he can't stand up straight. He has to have someone help him, or he can't make it. Now, we're all the same age. We were born in 1934, all of us. And then myself. Well, they knew each other because they have lived in Idaho Falls their whole lives. And I knew it was up to me to step forward. Now, I sat next to Kent Taylor's wife, Joyce Hart. She said, I want to sit next to Doug. And the way it was said, I got to sit next next to Doug. Well, she lived across the street from Carol. And Carol and I had a relationship. We'd go together for 2 weeks and we'd break up. And then Joyce and I'd get together and work out the scheme between us. Then she'd go see Carol, and Carol would calm down. Then we'd have another date. We'd go for 2 weeks, break up. And that kind of seemed to be the pattern. It got a little bit to 3 weeks, and then maybe at the best a month. But so it was, because it was just who's going to dominate in this relationship. Well, Carol's pretty strong, but she learned it was going to be me. And I believe that's the way it had to be and should be. And she just molded and matured into that format, and the marriage has been, and the life has been simply blissful.